Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Devin Gauravani Pacharane. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastajate Sadane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we continue reading from the second chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā as it is, contents of the Gita summarized. So, text 30. We're asked to do two text slokas today. At least we'll try to do one. Text 30. Dehi Nityam Avadhya Yam Dehe Sarvasya Bharata Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani Na Tvam Sochitam Arhasi Dehi Nityam Apadyoyam Dehi Sarvasya Bharata Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani Natvam Sochitam Arhasi Dehi Nityam Apadyoyam Dehi Sarvasya Bharata Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani Natvam Sochitam Arhasi Dehi Nityam Avadhyoyam Dehi Sarvasya Bharata Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Dehi Nityam Avadyo Ayam
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam Sochitam Ahasi
Arhasi
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi. Mataji's?
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Dehi Sarvasya Bharata
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi
Natvam Sochitam Arhasi Dehi, the honor of the material body. Nitya Nityam, eternally. Abhadhya, cannot be killed. Ayam, this soul, dehe, in the body. Sarvasya, of everyone. Bharata, or descendant of Bharata. Tasmat, therefore. Sarvani, all. Bhutani, living entities that are born. Na, never. Tvam, you. Sochitam, to lament. Arhasi, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanara Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada K. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Everybody please repeat. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Satriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle. On the authority of Shri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged. But at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord, and not capriciously. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyanam Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manomistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Gita Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatmate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kamshana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Vipasindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashvati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Dehi nityam avadyoyam dehi sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam sochitam arhasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that this is the conclusion on the teachings of regarding the spirit soul, which started on text 13 of this chapter. Text 13. Dehinosmin yata dehe gomaram yovanam jara tata dehanta praptirtirastatra. Again, the word dehe in the body. The soul is embodied in the body, which is made of material elements. And here again, Dehi Nityam, the person who is embodied in the body is eternal. It's not that before we did not exist, and right now we are temporarily existing, and that after this body is finished, we will cease to exist. But the soul is always existing, all the time. It's like the sun. Prabhupada always used the analogy of the sun. It is due to our contaminated senses that actually the sun is always there. Sometimes it's prakat, and sometimes it's aprakat. Sometimes it's manifested, and sometimes it's unmanifested. We cannot say now that the sun disappeared, because we are not able to see due to today's weather. It's drizzling. We're not able to see the sun, but actually it's the cloud that's covering the sun from our sight. The sun is there. It is not that the sun disappeared, didn't come because of the rain. It's not that the cause of the disappearance or the sun disk disappeared because of the sun or because of the clouds. No, it's always there. So similarly, due to our contaminated senses, we have forgetting Krishna. This is our disease. We forget Krishna. That's why we're in this material world. Krishna is always there. And also, the living being is always existing. But because out of ignorance only, we are not understanding that the soul is present within the body. We're misidentifying. Again, the body as the self. So, Dehi Nityam Abadhyoyam. The owner of the body, this material body, is eternal. It cannot be killed. Explains Bhagavad-Gītā previously that the soul cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be withered by the wind, cannot be wet by water. There is no instrument, material instrument, to find where is the soul or how to see the soul. No way. And the symptom, as Srila Prabhupada says, how we can understand and how we can experience the soul is through our consciousness. Consciousness also being always present even if the person is unconscious, a person who is in, let's say, in coma, that doesn't mean that the consciousness disappeared or left the body. It is only because the person is diseased that the person is not able to experience or understand or feel the presence of consciousness. But the consciousness is always there. Not until the soul passes on to another body, when the body starts functioning or the organs of the body starts to slow down or ultimately finished. The soul goes on to another body, next life, because death means birth. Death means the body is finished and then the soul will take birth on a different body. And birth means death also. Only the body. The body takes birth, the body dies. But the soul, it says that there is never a time when we can point out when the soul started to exist, when we were created by the Supreme Lord. But you cannot point out in the history, a few million years ago, that our soul existed from the very beginning of that time. At the time of creation, the soul practically is eternal. There's no such thing that you can point out, there's a beginning and the soul will end. The soul always exists. So, in describing this immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna tried to convince Arjuna about the immortality of the soul, not the body. The body is temporary. He wanted to convince Arjuna, by my order you fight. Krishna's order is supreme. No one can refute the Supreme Lord's order. Even though sometimes it may be seemingly immoral, but nothing is immoral when it comes to Lord Krishna. It's like stealing. For us, if we steal, that is a crime. It's punishable by law. But when Krishna steals, it's a source of enjoyment for his devotees. It is actually not really like immoral when it comes to him, because he's absolute. Whatever he performs, whatever he does, is absolute on a transcendental platform. Unlike us, if we perform some kind of activity which is contrary to the law of man and contrary to the law of God, it is punishable. But when Krishna performed his pastimes, no. On the other hand, it becomes a source of joy for everyone, especially for his devotees. So fighting is the duty of a Kshatriya. Therefore, Arjuna as a Kshatriya should not abandon his duty, because out of fear, and also Arjuna being a saintly personality, this is one of the qualities of a saintly person. He is non-violent. Non-violent. He doesn't want to fight. Of course, if there's a reason to fight, a devotee will fight. Not for himself, but to defend others. Defend others devotees or the Supreme Lord himself. And here Arjuna doesn't want to fight. He rather would go to a forest and just perform tapasya. He wants to run away from his duty as a Kshatriya. Especially he's fighting against his grandfather, Bhishmadev, and his teacher, the one who, his guru. This guru has to be respected as the same as the Supreme Lord himself, Dronacharya. Drona. It's like when they were young boys, both the Pandavas and the Kurus, they were all together under the care of Dronacharya, who taught them of artha, the art of battle, the art of martial arts, the art of fighting. And Arjuna is the best of them all. That even Dronacharya himself prevented Arjuna to be defeated by this one great archer. What's the name of that great archer again? Who studied in the forest. He made a deity of Drona and practiced archery. Ekalavya, yes, Ekalavya. He became so proficient, he became so expert in archery that actually he became much greater than Arjuna. But he did not follow the etiquette that he worshipped Dronacharya without his permission, and he practiced archery on his own. That when Dronacharya
Made a deity.
yes, he made a deity, of course. He asked, from that deity he became so much inspired.
From there we have Ritvik Wadis today.
And
from there we have Ritvik Wadis here.
Oh, okay. That's another thing. So much so that when Ekalavya asked his guru that I want to please you, is there anything that you want from me to do, to perform? He says, I only want one thing. I want your thumb. The right thumb is the one that you use for the arrows. Because you cannot, it's not strong enough to just hold the arrows to put into your bow and then do like this. Even in the Olympics, you've seen they have so many gadgets they put in their hands to make it really strong. Because they use this to control the arrow. And because Ekalavya is such a great disciple as well, nevertheless, he knew that by giving up this thumb, he will not be better than Arjuna. He will not be a better archer at all. He will not be able to shoot any arrow. But yes, right in front of his spiritual master, he cut this right thumb. So it is natural for Arjuna to be this emotional, because as a saintly person, he doesn't want any violence, and he's thinking that this is immoral. It is immoral if you look at it in the material point of view. To kill one's family member. Of course, nowadays they're doing it due to sense enjoyment, to fulfill their sense gratification. They will kill anyone and anybody. This is the fifth arrow of Cupid we were talking this morning. One becomes so mad that even his loved ones, because that person loved, so-called loved, that so-called loved ones or relatives, he will kill or she will kill anyone who goes in between them and also the person whom he or she loved. This is Cupid's arrow, the fifth Cupid's arrow. I gotta go and search where I wrote this down before. There are 5 arrows of Cupid. We were talking this morning. So Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty, even though seemingly immoral, in material point of view. But in the spiritual point of view, whatever Krishna wanted us to do, we should do it. And we are not responsible. There is no such thing as karma and this. Even Krishna says, do things against the law of man. Of course, Krishna will not tell us things which is contrary to the law of man or contrary to the law of nature. Krishna will not do that. Seemingly in our eyes, or based from our experience previously and now, it is contrary, but for Krishna it will never be contrary. That he even told one time was that the elephant Aspada is killed. What's the name of that elephant? Asbatam, right? And this is to kind of like mislead. He didn't shout the elephant. He just said the elephant. Oh no, the Asbatam.
Asbatam has been killed.
Asbatam. The elephant is killed. Has been killed. So seemingly this is like a lie. Immoral. Just to fulfill, so that to establish religion, to establish dharma. Real dharma, when it needs to be established, externally it may look like it's against the principles of religion. This is the fallacy of today's so-called religious war that's going on all over the world. All over the world. Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, that stan, this stan, everywhere stan.
Pakistan?
Everywhere. Your stan, my stan. Stan means land, property, area of jurisdiction. You come into my entrance, like in America. They have a sign, beware of dog. They don't want you to come inside their house, otherwise the rifle is ready to shoot you. Just recently there was an incident I read, because in America this is like normal to have guns and rifles inside the house. So there's one young girl, she found a rifle under the bed, loaded. Somehow she took that, and because they were playing, they don't know the difference between real and not real. And she pointed out to another 4-year-old friend, and it's gone. So, it should not be beware of dog, it should be beware of God. This is our disease, that we have forgotten Krishna. It's not just we have forgotten Krishna, we have forgotten our real identity, which is our real dharma. Swadharma, a real occupational duty, is to serve the Supreme Lord. So, On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul, different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. This is also the followers of those who doesn't believe in God. They don't believe in God, therefore they don't believe also the existence of the soul. God doesn't exist, therefore after this body I don't exist also. I only exist in this body. I only attain having an existence being in this body. And when I live this body, I become one with everything. This is impersonal. This is called Mayavad. Mayavad means everything is part of Maya. Everything is part of material energy. This is illusion. My existence is illusion. But also at the same time, when I attain a certain level of spiritual advancement, I will become God. And you are also God, but you are not realizing it right now. Well, someday, when you become spiritually enlightened, then you will understand that you are God. And therefore, I will call you as Narayan. I am Narayan now. You don't know you're Narayan yet. And after leaving this body, I become one with Narayan, who doesn't have any form, impersonal form. So there is no such thing as like that under the authority of Krishna. We repeat what Krishna says. Krishna says the soul is existing all the time. And we also have that kind of understanding or experience. It's been explained many times by Srila Prabhupada. This is when we sleep. Sleep is just like a sudden death. When we wake up, we take birth again, so to speak. But we cannot choose anybody, any material form. We come back to this body once again. And ultimately, when we leave this body, we take up a different form. So the soul is eternal. It says here, though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged. Prabhupada gave an example. It's like a soldier. He's given a medal when he goes to war, when he killed many opponents in the battlefield. When he goes home, he'll give him this Medal of Honor, this Purple Heart. In America, this is what they give. The highest level of award one can be given as a soldier. Because you defended the country with courage. This is one of the qualities of the Kshatriya. With bravery. He killed many opponents. They have to be killed. And he came back home victoriously. And then therefore, to give you proper honor and respect, you'll be given this Purple Heart medal. But now when you came home and you started shooting your neighbors because you're still thinking that he's my enemy, therefore I have to kill him also. And I have a gun as a soldier. You will not be given any more award from doing so. On the other hand, you'll be tried, you'll be put into trial, and the judge will say, I'm sorry guy, your Purple Heart medal doesn't work here. You have to go to jail. This is nonsense what you did. So, encourage at the time of war. Kshatriyas are encouraged. Especially here, Arjuna is being encouraged by Krishna. to fight, even though he's fighting against his kinsman, to establish the principles of Dharma. That is the main reason. And Krishna says, you do not worry, I already have killed him. Everything is already predestined. I know already the result. They're all going to be vanquished somehow. But why don't you do it? So the hero in the Bhagavad-Gītā is not Krishna. The hero in the Bhagavad-Gītā is Arjuna. Even though he killed his relatives and his grandfather, he still became the hero due to following the instructions of Krishna. So if you follow the instructions of our Guru Maharaj, then the glory is unto the disciples. Of course, that increase also the glories of our Guru Maharaj if you follow his instructions. But Guru Maharaj wanted the disciple to become greater than himself by instructing him in such a way that he will make more and more progress in Krishna consciousness. By following the instructions of spiritual master, one makes advancement in Krishna consciousness, one becomes advanced more and more and gets closer and closer unto the Supreme Lord. And of course the spiritual master will not say anything also against the laws of man and laws of God. It will be always under the jurisdiction and the principles of Dharma. So what Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight is not contrary to Dharma, not contrary to the religious principles. It's like there is a verse here in the Bhagavad-Gītā that sex I am not contrary to religion. Even though sex is, if you consider it, it's considered as immoral. If it's against, if it's against the principles of religion. If it's outside of marriage, that's what we call the illicit sex. But if Krishna tells that, yes, not contrary to religion, I am that, I am that. It may look like to us like, oh, this is not good, this is contrary. So, fighting, violence is being encouraged by Supreme Lord for Arjuna to follow. And this is justified by the Supreme Lord. It's not just he's saying it out of passion, out of ignorance. It's instructing Arjuna, you please do this. It'll be good for you and it'll be good for everyone. Because everyone will see what is real Dharma, what is real principle of religion. So in this way, we'll be able to understand actually the position. Srila Prabhupada says, if we follow the instructions of Krishna, accordingly the way Arjuna followed those instructions, similarly will be rightly situated. There's no such thing as a mistake or an offense if we do it the way Arjuna followed the instructions of Lord Krishna. So we stop this one. So we have time? The second one? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on this so far?
I have one doubt actually.
Yes.
This meaning of Devi is the owner of the material body. Who is the owner of the
Owner of the material body
the soul?
is the soul. Is the of course there is also what you call knower of the body, knower of the field. The knower of the field means knower of the body, but there is also knower of every fields of everyone. That is Krishna. So ultimately Krishna is the owner of the soul.
Owner of the soul.
Ultimately. It's like when Sanatana Goswami He wanted to give up his life because when he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he passed to the forest, he contracted this disease. His body is full of pus, is oozing everywhere, and he felt so much embarrassed that this body is not worth living for. Therefore, he decided that he will jump. He will throw himself, jump in the mountain and give up his life. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, this is not your body. This belongs to me. You have to use this body to serve me, to please me. So who is the real owner of the body then? Is it the soul or Krishna? Krishna. Temporarily we are in this body. So our being an owner, owning this body is temporary. Krishna is the proprietor. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka mahesvaram. He is the proprietor of everything. Sarvaloka mahesvaram, of all the planetary systems. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. We're not the enjoyer, we are the enjoyed. We are the enjoyed. We are Prakriti. Krishna is Purusha. We are Purusha in a certain extent, but Krishna is Param Purusha. He's a supreme proprietor. We are proprietor, yes, of this body, but ultimately Krishna is the Param Purusha, supreme enjoyer. Anything else at this point?
Regarding Dharma, Dharma refers to religion.
Yes. Dharma means religion. And what is religion? To serve Krishna. To serve the Supreme Lord. This is the purpose of all religions. To serve God. Whether He's Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, Buddha, Adonai, Ram, Krishna, Kesava, Murari. This is our Dharma, to serve. You cannot take that away from the soul. Prabhupada says, like the Dharma of sugar is sweet. The Dharma of water is wet. You cannot separate those things. So our Dharma, the Dharma of the Jivas, Jaiva Dharma, is to serve the Supreme Lord to the best of our ability and capacity.
Any misconception like one is superior than other? I mean, one Dharma is superior to other Dharma?
No, there is no one superior than other.
Misconception.
Yes. One. Just like in India, India is a secular government. Secular government, that means that it gives
Equal importance.
everyone the choice of what religion they want to follow. Whether it's Buddhism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Jainism, all the isms. You can follow whatever religion you do, but you have to follow the principles. It's not just you follow a certain religion and then, okay, you can do whatever you like, as you like. Some so-called religion nowadays is like that. Oh, it's okay. You don't have to follow any rules and regulations. You can eat meat, no problem. You can have whatever you like in your life. Just worship me. If you think I'm God, then you worship me as God. So some religions are like that. So-called religion, because it is man-made. Dharma tu saksat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma can only be enunciated by the Supreme Lord Himself. No one else can make it up. And nowadays it becomes like a business. Okay, next text, because we don't want to get out of the... We can just read.
Just read, yeah.
Swadharmam api chavikshan avikrapim tu marhase dharmyadhi yudhya chreyonya satya shana vidyate. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting unreligious principles. And so, there is no need for hesitation. Purport. Out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Kshat means hurt. To give one who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Trayate, to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya, of course Prabhupada will pronounce this as Kshatriya. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. Of course, now this royal order has been abolished in India. Doesn't exist anymore. But this is like the duty of the kings to go to the forest to practice their skills in archery or in swords. They will fight tigers, sometimes bare hand, nothing, fist to fist. And they'll be able to defeat the wild animals because of their bravery. The Kshatriya or Kshatriyas are especially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. And yes, you see, they will kill them, and after that they will be given royal cremation. They'll be honored that you've been killed by the king, therefore you became so fortunate that you were killed from the hands of a Kshatriya. Not like nowadays, they kill animals for their own sense enjoyment. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor on principle. Repeat. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. When it's needed, it has to be done. When it's not needed, no need to do it. In the religious law books, it is stated, Ahaveshu mito nyonyam jigam santo mahi shuta yudhamana param satya swargam yanti aparam mukha yagneshu pashabu brahman hanyate satatam dvijay samskrita kila mantraischa tepi swargam apapnuvan. Quote, in the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya while fighting another king envious of him is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death, as the Brahmanas also attained the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. If a king lost in a battle, he better not come home. The queen will not accept him. It's better you die. If you lose in the battle, it's better you don't come back home. It's better you just go somewhere else somewhere else, some other kingdom, and become a servant of another king, than coming home and showing your face to the queen and says, here I am, I'm sorry I lost, but anyway, I'm here. The queen will say, Shalom. Get out of my face. So this is worse than a death. If you lose in the battle as a Satriya and go home, no, it's worse than death.
Janardana had no shame.
Yeah, because demoniac personalities are like that. Demoniac in nature. They don't have shame. They have face as thick as a wall, so to speak. They don't care. They only care for themselves. Therefore, killing in the battlefield and religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. That's right, because in the battle of Kurukshetra, anyone who got killed, they also attained moksha, because they saw the face of Lord Krishna. And they were fighting actually in religious principles. So anyone who lost their lives in the battle, they also attained the spiritual world. This is the absolute nature of Krishna, of the Supreme Lord. The demons, they also attain moksha if they get killed seeing the Supreme Lord, even not from the hands of the Lord himself. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another, and the Satriyas killed in the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. There are two kinds of swadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. Usually we don't know what is our swadharma materially, but we have inclinations whereby the spiritual master will be able to ascertain and understand our physiological nature, that he'll be able to engage us in a particular seva according to our nature. If we're a Satriya, it's automatically. In Krishna consciousness, somehow or other, we are put in service whereby we are actually fit in. There's no such thing as we don't have to choose actually. Sometimes devotees are very choosy. Oh, I don't like this. It's not my nature. How do you know it's not your nature? You're given this service, better accept it. Right? A Vaishnava is like a jack of all trades. A jack of all trades, he can do anything and everything. And a moment's notice. We're not like conditioned such a, hey Prabhu, I'm sorry, I'm a pujari, I don't distribute books. I'm in the accounting section. I'm sorry, I don't do any puja. When times of need, when it needs to be done, we should be able to do anything and everything, because this is one of the qualities of a Vaishnava. He is expert in everything. He can be a gardener, he can be an accountant, he can be a sweeper, he can be a pujari, he can be a book distributor, he can preach, he can do anything and everything. Do you have this experience that you say, I'm sorry, Prabhu, it is not my nature, I don't do this service, I don't want to, have my hands dirtied. Did you ever tell this to anybody? Yes? Of course not. Whatever is been given to us. We see this as a mercy from the Supreme Lord coming through the disciplic succession, through the parampara. We should never ever say no for the opportunity to serve Krishna and his devotees. Never ever. We should never ever say no if there's an opportunity to preach. And preaching doesn't necessarily mean sitting here and speaking. Preaching by example, especially. Preaching the way you be able to serve the Supreme Lord very nicely in any ways whatsoever. That is a Vaishnava. So, we have specific duties. And as long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. This is why it's called Varnashram. Okay? When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Sudra, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a brahmachari, I'm not a grihastha, I'm not a vanaprastha. Therefore, why am I? Jivira Swarupoy Krishnana Nityadas Gopi Bhattar Patakamalaya Dasa 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 Anudas. This is our spiritual nature. This is our real swadharma. That we are eternally servants of the servant, 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 servant, unlimited servant of the Supreme Lord. That's like we mentioned the other day. If you're in the last, you're in the first. If you're the last servant, actually you're the most dearest. Krishna will see you if you're in the last. Krishna doesn't see you if you're the first. Automatically Krishna sees you, you're in the first. But Krishna is equal to everyone. And more so that he will see who is way, way at the back. Who doesn't impose himself or herself. Pushing himself or herself. Out of humility, an advanced devotee doesn't push himself or herself in the front. On the other hand, he or she will give everyone the chance to be closer to Krishna. This is the mood of the gopis. So, this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. When your nature materially is like that, it's inevitable. You do that service very nicely. It is better to do your duty, because that is your nature, imperfectly, than do others' duty nicely, but it is not you're not supposed to do it. Better leave it alone, because that will create a disturbance to others. There's a statement like that in the Bhagavad-Gītā, right? It's better to do your duty imperfectly than do others' duty perfectly. So who knows our duty? Our spiritual master. Those devotees who are far more advanced than we are, they'll be able to see what is our real nature materially. But spiritually, everyone is the same. No one is higher, no one is greater. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. What's the 4th chapter? 4th chapter is Transcendental Knowledge. On the bodily plane, Sudharma is called Varnashram Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashram Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the bodily obtained. In the spiritual nature, spiritual Swadharma, what's that? Yes, activities is more important than Janma. This is the misidentification of the body in the caste system, that due to one's birth is what is more important. That you took birth in a Brahmana family or a Kshatriya family, therefore you're a Brahmana, even though your nature is not a Brahmana nor a Kshatriya. In spiritual Swadharma, activities is far more important than one's birth. It's like a Vaishnava, his birth is not so much important. His activities is more important. So much so that when he leaves the body, or after leaving the body, his greatness will be known from the activities that he performed. It doesn't matter where he came from, whether he's from Italy or America or France or Philippines. That is not so much important. Or Punjabi or Gujarati or from South Kerala or somewhere, Tamil. No, one's birth is not important, the spiritual nature of the devotee. One's activities that he performed or she performed during one's lifetime actually is going to be recognized. And this is one of the not so good, because usually we will only miss a person when the person is already gone. We will only be able to recognize a person when that person is not amongst us anymore. On the other hand, we should be able to recognize and give some credit where credit is due to be given, even when the person is still alive. So much so that when we do that, then it'll be beneficial for us to glorify that person while that person is still around. The materialists are doing that actually. They're giving them awards, like the best actor or best actress, best CEO, a Nobel laureate winner, But for the devotees, it's seemingly that we only able to glorify. Of course, right now they're doing it in Mayapur. They have awards in Mayapur, like the best congregational preacher or the best book distributor. But that is only given to the topmost. What about those devotees, those little, so-called little devotees, or little prabhus, who's doing sincerely and very, very enthusiastically their seva every day without any complaint.
And no recognition.
That's right. That's my point. Why are we not doing that? If the materialists, they have this employee of the month, right? I was thinking like that many times. We should have like that here. We should be able to actually recognize every devotee's seva, regardless of what they're doing. And we can put the picture of the devotee and the profile of the devotee in the bulletin board of the Welcome Center, and everyone can see what a great devotee he is or she is. I'm seeing her every day, but somehow I thought he's just an ordinary devotee. I actually kind of like not given so much importance, pushing aside like the microphone. Right? I think still we should do that so that everyone can be given a chance to be glorified.
I second the motion.
Okay, we'll do it then. If Mother Parvati says we'll do it. Seriously, why not? We can start that. I don't know if other temples are doing it, but whatever we do in Vrindavan, all the temples of ISKCON will follow. Whatever we do here, any kirtans, you do a wrong kirtan here, you go to the next temple, the closest temple, which is like Delhi, you'll hear it the next day. And they will think it's right.
Because it came from Vrindavan.
Because it comes from Vrindavan. So we should set the best example here, then all the temples in the world, in the ISKCON world, will follow. So on the bodily plane, so Dharma is called Varnashram Dharma, or men's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from a stage of Varnashram Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Higher status of life means Krishna consciousness. So we finished the 2 verses. Thank you very much. Any questions on this point?
I have one comment.
Yes, Mataji.
Do we still have a microphone?
Yeah.
Right behind? So just on your last couple of points, I don't think there's any such thing as an ordinary devotee.
Yeah, well, we're just saying it like that.
Yeah. No, I understand.
There's no, because devotee
Just to
is...
carry your
Yeah,
point
yeah.
through.
Yeah, because
Actually, no devotee is ordinary.
Yes.
All devotees are very special.
That's right. That's why I said we should glorify them. A devotee means a devotee. A devotee is a devotee. There's no such thing as little or a big devotee. This is only to our contaminated eyes. A person who's helping, let's say, the Bhishma department, who's packing up nice gifts for our congregation members or friends, is definitely worthy of being praised. But we will see, oh, that person who is out there distributing books is higher. No, it's the same. Absolute. In the eyes of Supreme Lord, the sweeper of the temple room and the pujari is on the same platform. Yes, I just mentioned that just to we'll be able to understand that actually they're not really ordinary, they're not small. I even say like this, they're not like this.
I have a question that I already asked to another people. That there is 2 great authorities, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Rupa Goswami, who spoke about this subject matter. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in his Chaitanya Charitamrita that we should never see one devotee try to evaluate that one devotee is very, very, very good and this one is not so good, less good, like that. He says that it is not the right attitude, And we understand also, as you say, we should see the devotee as all wonderful. It is not nice. But at the same time, there is Rupa Goswami.